Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. This is Stephen Williams, founder and president of the creditrepairshop.com. This is part two of Getting Out of Debt 2020. Just to review, if you haven't watched the video, you can look it up. I talked about the first steps of getting out of debt because a lot of people seem to do it where they try to go cold turkey and they don't lay a foundation. Foundation is the basis of everything. If you don't have a good foundation, you can have the best looking building in the world, but if the foundation is not right, the building will come down. The same thing goes for getting out of debt. If you don't lay a foundation, you're not going to be able to get out of debt. And I will be referring to it was a small manual that I made years ago. Let's see, this was 2008. I made this and I still go by this to this day. This is the way that my wife and I got out of debt. And the first part that you have to do, the laying the foundation, the concrete that you must lay to start getting out of debt is to change your mind about debt, change your mind about money, change your mind about what you're doing with your money. Number one, and this is something that I didn't know when I wrote this, but I've learned over time, is that we don't spend money, we circulate money. Some people circulate money without having their hands still attached to their money. What I mean by that is some money, when you, let's just say for your light bill, that is not spending money on your light bill. That's circulating money so you can get back electricity. And you need to make your mind think that way, because what will happen is that every time your monthly expenses come up, you'll be like, I got all of these bills that I got to pay. When the majority of those bills, your car payment, your mortgage or your rent, your electric, your cable bill, your cell phone bill, your internet bill, these are all things that you enjoy. So you must switch your mind, lay a foundation that any money that you place out there is for your enjoyment. And we know just from experience that anything that you enjoy, truly enjoy, comes back to you tenfold. But the problem is that if you think that it's always just about spending, it won't come back to you, because it's just like the farmer. If the farmer has the seeds in his hands and he say, I don't want to get rid of these seeds because then I won't have any. He has to plant, or she has to plant the seeds first to reap the harvest, to be able to recover that and then have more seeds to plant again. What happens with people is that people send out their seeds and they don't have no foundation to receive back. And that's what we're going to be talking about here. So the first part I talked about yesterday was laying that foundation. The first part of that is to make a decision. If it's you or you're by yourself, or if it's you are married or have a significant other, you must make a decision. The decision is the first brick of the foundation, or the first cement part of the foundation. You must come to an agreement that you will not, or number one, that you are going to pay down your debt and then get out of debt as much as possible. I understand that you may not pay off your house and stuff like that. That's immaterial when it comes to just being able to stabilize your household and be able to live comfortably, where you're just not seeming like you're working to live instead of living to work. I mean, I'm sorry that you're working so you can live good, not where you're living your life just to have to go to work. That's what I meant. Sorry about that. Because you shouldn't just be waking up every day saying that I have to go to work just to be able to maintain my lifestyle. If you, at some point, you're going to get tired of that if you're not already tired of that. It should be enjoyment. It should be where you take risk and chances so you can grow and do the things that you want to do, and you'll see that you reap more than what you had put in there. So now laying that first foundation is to make that decision. The next thing that I had talked about in yesterday's video was that you don't go cold turkey when you're trying to get out of debt and say, I'm just going to stop spending and all of this. No. Next step, which is what you should do, is to write down all of your household expenses and then look at that and see what you have. And then the next step is to see what your hidden expenses. These are things that you spend money on, like you go and get coffee instead of making it at home in a coffee pot, or going out to lunch all the time from work instead of making your lunch. Everything. And I'm not saying quit any of that. I'm saying just keep the receipts, put it in a envelope or something, and you can do this for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month, and you can look at where all of your additional money is going. And then after you look at that, this is where you start doing the work of chopping off the expenses that are just unnecessary. And some of those may be your household expenses, seeing how you can either renegotiate with your cell phone company to get a better rate. Look at how you can get discounts on if you got a home phone and a cell phone. Do you really need the home phone? The cable bill, do you really need that amount for your cable bill? Everything, you look at all of your household expenses and look at what you could do to reduce those. Not talking about doing debt consolidation and stuff like that. We are not at that point. We're talking about just doing what you could do with that right there. And then on the other side, the money that you're just spending on the additional things that are not considered household expenses, going to the movie, coffee, lunch, going to the nightclub, drinks, everything. And Illinois just approved marijuana, so going to get marijuana, whatever, how much ever that is costing people. Put all of that, get the receipts. Can you believe it? You have a receipt for marijuana now. I got a receipt about marijuana. Put all of that in the envelope, and then you look at those and you say, what is all this stuff? Is a lot of unnecessary spending. When my wife and I did that, we saw that there was a lot of unnecessary spending, and we had actually came to an agreement that all we would spend money on during the week was gas. We don't do nothing unless it was something that was a necessity. I started bringing my lunch to work because I've, just a lot of stuff that we had just changed. And it made a big difference. And for us, because we had a good income, and so cutting all of that allowed us to save a lot of money. I think back then, and we're talking about 1994, we're talking about saving $2,000 to $5,000 per month that we were saving that didn't go to anything when we did that. And it had just helped us pay off a whole bunch of debt. But where we're at right now, let's not skip too far. Let's focus on, did you do your homework and write down your household expenses, get the mail, everything that you got to pay, and then you get all of those, get an envelope or something to put all of those receipts in. Now, what I want you to do, if you're able to do it on your computer, if you have Microsoft Excel, what I want you to do is I want you to type in each one of those and put the amount there. And then you, at the bottom of it, you need to add up all of those expenses. If you don't know how to do that, and what I'll do is remember to put it at the bottom of this video where you can just download an Excel file on the one that I use to do all of my expenses and stuff on, even for business. I put it all in the Excel and I let it all add up, and I'm able to look at it that way. But you put it all in Excel and you had amounts and you let that add up. And then below there, what I want you to do is, after you go through either a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month, put all of those additional things that you spent money on, all of those receipts, let that tally up. That's going to give you a very good idea on all of the money that you're spending throughout the month. sometimes it's very hard to look at it from your checkbook unless you're using a software like Quicken or one of those where you can download everything and then you can print out a report and see where all of your money is going. That's something that I also use. But if you don't want to go that route, and if you use Quicken or something like that, it does download the register from your bank, from your bank account. But if you don't want to go that route, just keeping it simple, you could use Excel. And I think if you don't have Excel, Windows does have a free version of not sure exactly what they call it, but it works just like Excel. And you want to let all of that add up. And then once you get all of that added up, then you want to start looking at what you can start cutting. And this is why you got to lay that foundation at the beginning. Let me take a quick drink. This is why you have to lay that foundation at the beginning, because this will stop arguments at this point right here. Because when you start cutting, especially if you're married, you may want to cut something that your spouse doesn't want to cut. But if you have that agreement at the beginning, that decision to get out of debt, that is the ultimate goal. Everything in the middle is negotiable. So the way my wife and I did it, we looked at what we had in front of us and we just kept moving forward because we were like, this is what we agreed. We agreed to get out of debt. We did not know how at that time. We didn't say how. We knew what we were going to do, but we didn't say, well, this is our agreement and we're going to get out of debt by cutting your stuff on this side and cutting my stuff on that. No, the agreement is to make a decision to get out of debt. And then once you have all of the numbers and stuff, then you start cutting. That's why I tell people, don't do this part first. Because if you do this part first, it's going to screw up the agreement that you have. And that agreement could be with yourself. You make that agreement and then you decide what to cut and what stuff to get rid of, because you are going to go off of the foundation that you laid. This is so simple. I know I'm repeating it, but this is the foundation that got me and my wife out of debt, and I've been able to help hundreds of other people, probably thousands of other people with this same idea or formula to get out of debt. It's so simple that people just seem to jump over it and think that it might, I just got to do some other type of secret. No, it comes down to first making a decision and then getting the data. And because you've made that decision and you said in your mind you're going to stick to it, you're going to sign it. And that's another thing my wife and I did. We signed that we were going to stick to that agreement. And then once we got to the part where we looked at all of the household expenses and all of the stuff that we were spending extra money on, it was just made it very easy to start crossing off. And that's how we started saving $2,000 to $5,000 per month. From doing that, I was able to buy my first car. It was a Mercedes-Benz in cash, and we still had a whole bunch of money in the bank and no car payment. It changes your life a lot. And again, I repeat, I'm not against credit. I'm just against people using credit the wrong way. So this will end it for part two. Part two is to get it on the Excel sheet. You should have written it down from before. Let's get it on the Excel sheet. If you didn't write it down now. And then in part three, I'm going to go over what to start doing with that, like strategies to start getting rid of that debt, strategies to start coming up with money to pay down debt. I'm going to go over those strategies. So again, this is Stephen Williams, founder and president of CreditRepairShop.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please comment. I really appreciate it. It's not going to be the same. And if you need your credit reports, there's a link below, because you need to know exactly what's on your credit reports and how people are reporting. So just in case you end up needing to get a loan or you need to do something regarding your credit, you want to know what's on there. There's a link below. Go to scores.com. Visit our website, thecreditrepairshop.com. And I'm not going to end the video without talking about some positive-minded things. Last night, my wife and I, every night we go to bed and we listen to either motivational CDs or stuff that will, well, MP3s now, stuff that will allow our subconscious mind to work, because there's a lot of negative stuff that's out there, and if you focus on the negative, you will get the negative. I'm telling you, it really, it doesn't matter what you listen to, as long as it's something that's positive affirmations, feeling good about yourself, and it's repetitious over and over and over again. You will wake up very refreshed. I mean, I pop up at 4:30 in the morning every day, and if I'm not coming into work, yeah, I'll lay back down for another hour or so and then get up and work out. But I feel refreshed. I feel like I want to share more with you about how the mind works, because everything starts with your thinking. And I repeat it over and over and over again, and I'm going to repeat it again, is that the body is not what tells the mind what to do. The mind is actually outside of the body. The mind is a consciousness. The consciousness tells the brain. The brain tells the body. What we're so used to seeing right now is we see, and even myself, and what I'm doing is I'm practicing, because I believe that the TV has made it to where we don't use our senses for sight the right way. We see what other people want us to see. We see what has been put into us to see, when we should be, I guess we can tell ourselves what we want to see. And this happens, this is right in front of us right now. People see things a different way. People that listen to this and watch this video is going to see it a different way, depending on what has been put into them. There are some people that'll watch this video and they understand 100% and see what I'm talking about. Like what I'm talking, they can visualize. Yeah, you do that, you do that, you do that. And then there's other people that'll watch this video and they will not see it the same way that I explain it. And they will not be able to see it that way because of the way that their mind has been trained to see. And when I say been trained to see, is from the outside. So let me give you an example. If a person, I've met people in my city here that have never went anywhere else. I'm talking about they've never went out of the city. Like, no, they maybe went to a town on the outskirts of suburbs, but they've never left the city of Milwaukee. Think about that. And if you're that type of person, think about that. And now if you have went other places and traveled other places, do you see life that way that individual sees life? And so that's the little minute difference. That's the little minute difference in a person being successful or a person not being successful, or a person staying what I consider flatline, where they're just very little fluctuation. Their life is basically the same. And what I see a lot of people doing is they keep thinking that there's some other trick or secret or technique, when it all comes down to your thinking. Control your thinking. Tell your body how to feel, how to think, and what to see, and you'll start seeing those things materialize to you. I know that it's very difficult to think that way, because I even had issues thinking that way, and the only way to get over it is to give yourself repetition, and then you'll see that you have a conflict between the body and the brain and the mind. The body, brain, mind. And what the brain is doing, this is what the brain is doing. When you have the conflict, what the brain is a computer. So the computer is running a program, and the body is executing the program. And when the body when the mind gives the brain another program to do, because the brain does not know good, bad, whatever. It's just going to do what it's told. But when it hasn't been doing that over and over and over again, it gets a signal to do something different. I want to be rich. I want to make a lot of money. I want to lose weight. I want to get out of debt. I want to do this. I want to do that. It sends that signal to the brain. That brain sends it to the body, and the body says, no, wait, hold on a second. I'll give you a little bit of time, like a day or 2 days or 2 weeks, but if I don't see some changes real quick, let's just go back to what we feel comfortable doing. And that's the program that you have to overcome. That's the conflict that you have to overcome. And that is very, depending on the level of what you're doing, and we're not even talking about education here. We're just talking about the level of where you're at with your thinking, the level of where you're at with your visualization, the training that you give your body. Depending on that is going to be how fast you quit. Some people start a diet and they quit the next day. Some people quit in 2 weeks. The average person that starts a diet and starts going to the workout places quits within 3 weeks. Stops going, and they just keep paying their money. Person that tries to make more money, gets into a program, maybe they're in network marketing or something, or start a small business, within months they quit. They become disengaged because they're not getting the result. What you have to do when you're trying to make a change, you have to manipulate yourself into seeing what that change is going to be, and you have to do it over and over and over again. And one of the ways that you can kind of bridge that is to listen to motivational CDs at night, so you can give yourself that edge, that repetition to offset what you've put in there already, and then you can start to see things materialize. Things could be materializing in front of you, and you just don't know what it looks like because you're not used to seeing that. People can come to you and they're like ready to give you money. They're ready to do things with you, and you push them away. I used to do that. What would happen? This is what happened with me. In 1990, my wife and I started our publishing company. By 1994, and at that time, I was just out of the United States Army, and I was making, as a security guard at a local college, $386 or $384 every 2 weeks. Barely $6 an hour, $6.25. They gave me a raise, 25 cents back then. I worked that job for 8 months. We had started our business. I was 20 years old. We started our company within that year also. Within 8 months, I was able to quit my job. I was making $36,000 gross from my business, publishing business, my wife and I. Within 4 years, we're making $100,000 a year, and we're making like $10,000 in our pocket every month. But I had a problem that I did not understand at that time, is that I would make money and then I would think things are too good and I would push away money. So while we were building, a lot of people came into our lives that we didn't even know about. People that really I would have pushed away. We're talking about people that would just show up and say, I hear that you had this publication, and I have a printer that you might want to go through. It's like, is this person giving me this information? And they're giving it to me, didn't ask for anything. And it's like, why are they giving me that information? And what I did on accident, me and my wife did, is we just evaluated it and we just followed on accident. We just followed, and we ended up being with that printer still to this day. We're talking about 30 years later with the same printing company. That this person, his name is Fred, I don't know if he's still alive, overset white guy, just out of the blue came into our office, which was a one in our studio apartment at that time, and said, you're starting this publication, and here's a printer that you might want to use. And you could, some people would just push that away rather than evaluating the whole situation. Other people came into our lives. A guy named Steve Rainey, he has passed away. He had a limousine company. He actually came to us and he took my wife and myself in a limousine and showed us around and introduced us to other business owners and didn't charge us anything. And I think that what that comes from, and Marshall Silver, if you don't know who Marshall Silver is, that's someone that you should look at. You should listen to his audio tapes also, because he talked about where when you're in a positive mindset, people will want to work for you for free. They will come out of the woodwork and want to do things for you. And as a matter of fact, someone has contacted me on YouTube to say, I can make your videos better, and I'm going to make it a point. I'm going to put it on my notes right here, because that is a signal that someone from the universe wants to help make you better and you make them better at the same time. So I'm put video guy contact. I just want to write that note because this is real deal stuff. And so he took us around and introduced us to business people, and those business people ended up advertising in our publication. And the computer guy that we met, Eric, Computer Adventure in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Small computer guy, he's still there. He let my wife and I put our computer on layaway and let us come into his computer store and learn about using the software on the computer. How many people would do that? How many people, if you're the couple, would feel comfortable doing that? He offered it, and we didn't have any, like, I'm just too prideful not to go in there and do it. You know, I'm this big business person that started my business. No. We said, okay, thank you. And we went in and we learned what we could. And he even showed us things that we didn't know. That's accepting good, being open to good. And we had bought several computers from Eric. So don't push away your money. Don't push away your good. Good things want to come to you, but you might be pushing them away. I'm not going to say you keep pushing them away. You might be pushing them away, and that's because you can't identify the good that wants to come to you. And the way that you open up your mind, open up your vision to let the good come to you is to, and it goes back to foundation, is to lay the foundation in your mind that what you want to be, what you want to have, what you want to do with your life. And then that's the focus. That's what you visualize on. And even if you don't see it right now, you have to practice visualizing that. Go to sleep visualizing what you want your life to be, and you visualize it as it is now. So if you're going to drive, remember that G-Wagon that I had in yesterday's video. If you want a G-Wagon, if you want a Land Rover, if you want a Mercedes, if you want a Rolls Royce, you picture yourself getting into that car. If you want a lot of money, you picture yourself with a lot of money. You picture yourself. You picture your family. You picture your kids with it. You picture all the good things that are going to happen with it. And then you allow that to come to you. See, you may not know how that's going to come to you. That's the thing. We don't know how that money is going to come to us. The money wants to come to you, but you have to allow it to come to you and not have to think that you know 100% how it's going to happen. I was looking here on my notes. I have 3 different appointments that are coming in, and all 3 of them have 3 different amounts from 3 people that are gonna be 1 this week and 2 next week. And when I add this up in just over the next few days, what they're bringing to me, is $33,000 is what I'm gonna make from these 3 people over the next few days. 33,000. Actually, one of them had put a 5,000 deposit, so we're talking about $38,000. $38,000 in just the next few days coming to me. And the I'm giving value. It's not just where they're just giving me, I'm giving value. And just like what I talked about with the farmer, what did the farmer do with the seeds? They put it out there and then they allowed it to come back. I put the value out there on what I do for these people, these business owners. I put the value out there and then I allow that to come back. And what people have a problem doing, and I admit that even there was a time that I had a problem doing it, and now that I'm trying to be even bigger and expand, that I have to focus my mind on putting more out there. I have to put more out there than I used to put out there before to get even more back. So you have to lay that foundation. And that goes for getting out of debt. That goes for making more money. That goes for losing weight. That goes for everything in life. Is that everything starts with a foundation so you can get things back. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Part 3, we're going to go into what to start doing with your expenses and some techniques on how to come up with money and how to cut things. And we're going to be talking about that. So this is Stephen Williams, founder and president of the CreditRepairShop.com. I really appreciate your time and thank you. And please subscribe to my channel. Please like the videos. They talk about something about ringing the bell. I don't know if that is on these types of videos, but just spread the word. This is good stuff. This is real stuff. Thank you. And if you need help, go to the CreditRepairShop.com, the THE CreditRepairShop.com. All of the links are below this video. Thank you, and until next time.